Today, folks, I am gonna do one of my dumb videos where like I play one thing but kind of complain about another thing. So I am playing Diablo IV. I am begrudgingly enjoying myself. I did not expect to enjoy myself, but I am level 43, which means I am knocking on the door of the end game, which technically begins around level 55 or 50, because 50 is when you actually stop receiving any updates. So let's see if we can kill this stupid treasure goblin. So brief intermission. Oh, sweet, I got a legendary. Yeah, so I don't know, like I don't know what this game is going to look like as far as end games go. Because I expect a lot of the end game to revolve around the battle pass. And therein lies the problem with the current gaming landscape that we're in. Everything seems to be focused on live services. And I feel like there's a significant difference between live services as you're going to play online with other people and live services as we're going to try and make this your only game that you're going to play. And we want you to engage with it 100% of your time. And I kind of feel like Diablo IV is probably going to go down that path. Mostly because having experienced what the battle pass looked like in Diablo Immortal, I kind of expect this game to take its notes from that. And it was a battle pass along the lines of Destiny 2, where like realistically you kind of need to be only playing that game if you're going to get the maximum benefit from it. So that kind of concerns me. Because like battle passes in Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, like they're designed around the concept of you're going to play an amount of the game every day. So like that's usually around an hour's worth of time. And if you play an hour's worth of time, you can ultimately get the maximum benefit from your purchase of a battle pass. Whereas something like a Destiny, it's expecting you not just to spend the majority of your time playing that game, but to also spend like 3 months the majority of your time playing that game in order to cap out that battle pass system. So that's a concern, and that's honestly like why I hopped off the Destiny bandwagon. Was I knew I did not want to play it as my only game, and as a result, the benefit of playing with the battle pass was going to be muted for me. So I don't know, like I have concerns about what the Destiny, or not the Destiny, the Diablo 4 battle pass is going to look like. I hope that I am pleasantly surprised, and I hope that it is designed around limited engagement so that you can pop in, do some wizard chores, as my friend Ace calls them, and then pop out and do some other stuff. But I do expect a Diablo 4 season to be significantly more invasive than a Diablo 3 season. And I gotta say, like, a lot of the reason why I looked forward to Diablo 3 season so much is essentially they represented a really good week of time. So generally speaking, a Diablo 3 season would release on a Friday, and Ace and I would spend our weekend super focused on Diablo 3. And by the time Monday rolled around, we had pretty much completed everything there was to do for that season. And if we hadn't, then there was like only a little bit of time to piece it together. So like it was this really fun every 3 months. do a really focused weekend of gaming, and then move on with our lives. And that was great. Like it was super fun, and it was something that I could, kind of plan around, of having this binge weekend of playing Diablo 3 and then go back to whatever else I was playing. So that was fun. And I don't think that's going to be the case with Diablo 4. And I think Diablo 4 is very much designing around the notion that if you're going to participate, this is going to be your sole game during the course of that season. And like, to some extent, that's also kind of the way a lot of other seasons are designed, is like they want you to play primarily that game during that season. And at least with like Path of Exile, I've reached a point where I can comfortably move around that season. Because a Path of Exile League is supposed to last 3 months. But in reality, after about the first month, I've done almost everything that I care to do in a league, and I'm okay moving on past it. Like this past league, Crucible League, I probably played seriously for about a month and a half. And that was fine. Like, that was more than enough time to get some enjoyment out of that league. And you know what? Because I had a good experience and I reached the point where I felt like I was done with it in an unpressured manner, when the next league opens up, surrounding ExileCon in July, I'll be there ready to go. Like, I'm ready to do it again, because I've had a month and a half of focused gameplay, and then also time to go off and play other things. The games that really want you to spend all of your time focused on them, the problem is like, you burn out. I did one Destiny season where it was the only thing I played, and it was fun, but also at the end of the season, I was ready to get the hell out of Dodge and do literally anything else. I was not ready for more. I just wanted to stop playing that game for a while. So I have a feeling that this cycle of permanent engagement has its losers. And also, like, I talked about this last night on the podcast, but generally speaking, video games are not a zero-sum game, and there's room for lots of different games in the world. But there's only really room for one live service game in a person's life at a time. Live service being, this is the primary game that you're now engaging with. So I feel like that has to have a problem, because Diablo 4 will not just be competing with Path of Exile and Last Epoch and Wolcen. It's going to be competing with Destiny 2. It's going to be competing with whatever new battle pass there is in Fortnite. It's going to be competing with, Redfall, even though nobody's going to play Redfall over any other game. So yeah, it's competing with literally every other game out there, because the level of engagement that it's likely to ask for is a level of engagement that you can only do one of. Like, that's the cool thing about Honkai Star Rail, and Genshin also, is once you've gotten to a certain point in those games, your actual engagement tends to be like an hour a day. So like this morning I got in, did my wizard chores in Honkai Star Rail, and did the quest that was available to me, and then got out. Like, and I'm done. I'm done for the day. Like, I'm not going to play any more of that game. And I feel like I had a good experience with it and moved on with life. And now I could either do things in the real world, or I could just go on and know that I've played the game. and life's fine. Whereas a game that has an endless grind that's supposed to take you legitimately 3 months to complete, I don't know that there's room for that and room for literally anything else. And the other problem is these live service games that have content that has to be played on a schedule. Like, Diablo 4 has already said that there is going to be seasonal story content that you have to have played during the season, and it'll go away. And having experienced that with Destiny, it sucks. It sucks to know there's content that you'll never experience. And as a result, my answer to that has just been to stop playing Destiny entirely. Like, if I can't get the most out of that game on my terms, then I'm just not going to engage with it. So, I don't know. Like, I don't know that that's a great option either. To know there's the FOMO game of, missing out on story. But, like, for me personally, like, that worked for a while. But now I just want to check out of it. Like, okay, cool. You're one of those games. I don't want to play it on your terms, so I just won't play it at all. And now you won't get money out of me. So that's a concern. But also, like, so last week, Sony had a State of Play event, and one of the things that came out after the State of Play event is that by 2025, Sony expects to be spending 60% of its funding towards live service games. And that concerns me, because if you think about the games over the last several years that have made a permanent mark on the industry, it's been a lot of single player games. Like, look at the Breath of the Wild experience. Like, that experience is just as valid today as it was when it came out. Last of Us is a bit long in the tooth now, but like, that is an experience that you can always go back to. Cyberpunk 2077 and Witcher 3, both deep games that I have played through multiple times because I can pick it up and put it down on my own schedule. And like, I also think about all of the live service games over the years that are just dead and will never be playable again. Like, every so often I get a hankering to play Anthem, and it's a dead game. I cannot play it in any form. I can't even, like, illegitimately play that game. Like, that thing doesn't exist in any form. I will forever mourn the loss of Hellgate London. That is another game that I cannot play in its original form. Like, you can sort of play it. Like, there's a emulator server, so maybe that's a bad example, but like, it is a game that is difficult to play, and it was in essence a always on live service game. So I don't know. Like, I do wonder how much effort in the games industry is going towards things that are essentially throwaway experiences, and what will gaming look like in 10 years when, like, there's this entire decade of dominated live service experiences that can't be experienced. I mean, I think, like, to some extent, like, part of the reason why retro gaming is as big as it is you can pick up a console from 30 years ago and play the games, and they're, for the most part, just as valid today as they were then. So I do worry about what future gamers are going to look back on this era as, given that games have proven time and time again that once it stops being profitable to them, they're going to pull the plug. So, I mean, like, I think Diablo 3 will at some point die, and that's going to suck. But I also think that the interaction of Diablo 3 may be simple enough that somebody can emulate it, but I don't think anyone will be able to create a Diablo 4 server emulator, because the server itself is so front and center into everything that you're doing. And that's going to be the case for a lot of games that are coming out right now, that once the servers go dark, the experience just won't exist anymore. There will not be a version of it that you can ever play again. So, I don't know. I don't know that I have any real cogent points, but I had things that I wanted to talk about, and I happened to be playing Diablo 4. In truth, I'm enjoying myself. They may have said there weren't any significant updates between the load the servers event or stress the servers event and right now, but I will tell you, Barbarian feels totally different than it did during the last round of public testing. So I am enjoying myself. I'm gonna wrap up the campaign today or tomorrow and see what the proper end game looks like, and probably do a more complete review Monday or Tuesday. But yeah, I am concerned about where we're at right now with live service games, and I'm concerned of the battle pacification of every game, because there's just not enough time. Even college me that had endless time wouldn't have enough time to play all these games. And that's not to count the fact that I have a massive backlog, but a lot of the things that are on my backlog can just sit there until I'm ready for them. But a live service game like Destiny, I don't remember the last season that I played, but I've just missed 3-4 years worth of content that are gone that I'll never experience. I have no clue what's going on in that game. It looks like complete nonsense. But it was a game I once deeply cared enough about to watch a 4-hour lore video. So, I don't know. It's sad. It's sad that game is permanently off my radar now. And the longer gone from it that I am, the less likely I am to ever engage in it again. And now that Diablo 4 is kind of going down that same path with story content that only exists while you're in a season, I'm concerned. Are they putting themselves down that path as well? If you can't catch up and you can't experience all the content, it's gonna suck. A lot of the reason why people have gotten so sold on Final Fantasy XIV when World of Warcraft floundered is the fact that everything in that game is valid. There's no content that you can't experience, so you can eventually catch up. Same's true now with Guild Wars 2. You can catch up, and I see now that Living World Season 1 is in the game, there's a lot of people going back and playing through all the content again. So I don't know. I don't think disposable content is the route that you should be going, but that's just my thoughts. Anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap it up because my throat's getting sore. Allergies suck. Anyway, I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this thing. I'm shocked as hell that anybody watches any of my videos, but if you did, hopefully you enjoyed it, and I will see you the next time I do one of these. Bye.